are my favorite people in the world. You are. Welcome to the Lance Wallnau Show. I'm always looking forward every day to this moment of sanity when our tribe gets together and sifts through the mountain. If you could just see the mountain of data that I have to go through every day to come to the consensus as to what's really important and what is like God saying in the midst of the cacophony of voices and noise. Now they're using this word chaos all the time. On Fox News, we did earlier shows this week, and Fox was really talking about chaos coming out of Davos and chaos theory coming out of Atlanta. With the whole goal is to create enough instability and confusion so that government becomes the one thing you go to, which is the opposite of what the Bible says, which is God is going to shake everything in order for the unshakable kingdom to be manifest. So you got to get yourself rooted and grounded in that which doesn't shake. God doesn't shake. The word of God doesn't shake. And if you're grounded in the kingdom of God, you won't shake. But I'll tell you something that's going to be happening. Mercedes Sparks is with me right now. What's going to be coming now is the debt ceiling thing. It's coming down. It's going to be a big issue. McCarthy's feet are held to the fire because the 20 people that voted him in on the Republican side are saying, absolutely, you cannot cave in on this. The Democrats are saying they're going to make the Republicans look like they're causing a recession because they want to blame the Republicans for the recession that is theirs. You see where the game is going to go? And but before I go into that, you guys that have not done this so far, don't do it. You know, I used to listen to Jim Baker talk about the food thing and you getting food. And I always thought, I better get that. But then I kind of look at the window, I look at the news, and I'd say it's not yet. Then we had like a cold snap happen in Texas. And all the stores shut down. It wasn't a COVID thing. It was like really like an environmental crisis where everything, the grid closed up and locked up. Mercedes and her family had to move into our house for a while with Liberty, your daughter, because, you know, we were like living in like first century conditions here. We had with candles, you know, and telling stories at night because we had no electricity. I made the decision then that I was going to stock up on food supply and I was going to get my financial house in order in terms of not waiting until it was too late. And with this debt ceiling increase coming, I want you right now to go to lancewallnau.com/Birch and download the 21-page report and do what a number of my people have been doing. Take a look at your IRA, take a look at your retirement accounts, and move them now into the gold and precious metal category so that you can protect your money from, we just had Chris Reed on last week again, talking about the dollar. He had a vision, a dream of the dollar like being like cut, and he saw it cut again and cut again. And he said that it was so clear there was going to be a perpetual inflationary cycle with a devaluation going with it. Folks, lancewallnau.com/Birch. Take a look at the study on gold and silver. And I know people out there are going to say, well, what if you don't have anything? Read it. Knowledge is money. You'd be surprised how, as you increase your intellectual capacity in the subject, it's like faith. God gives you more as you're able to handle it. So you want to go take a look at lancewallnau.com/Birch. As we're going into the Democrats' warning of economic meltdown, several months before the debt ceiling increase is going to be needed. And this is coming right out of the news right now. What the Democrats are doing is they're saying, oh, a recession's on the horizon because the Republicans are messing around with the economy. How are they messing around with it? They've been told, McCarthy's been told, you're not to raise the debt ceiling, which is like raising the spending limit. Keep opening up another credit card for the out-of-control government. Mitch McConnell did this to you, my friend. The Democrats wanted to have $6 trillion of spending during COVID, another $2 or $3 trillion. We're really being sustained in the global economy by pumped up money. No country in the world can run a printing press except the United States. Don't you think every tin horn dictator in the world would love to go, well, we need to really increase our standard of living here. Let's just start printing more money. The only way you can print money is if you've got a globe that'll buy your money and use your money. Biden is killing that. And I have to look at it as a form of judgment on America. It's an economic judgment. We're watching the American House increase debt while it's creating competing monetary systems globally where the dollar is no longer the only game in town. Now they're looking at China doing business with Saudi Arabia and using petrodollars and the yuan as currency. In other words, the globe and Putin, clearly, they're all interested in getting away from the U.S. dollar and bringing America down to one place where the most vulnerable economically.
Well, Egypt wants to join BRICS. Did you see that?
So explain to people what that means.
Well, BRICS is a unification of those nations. So what is it? Brazil, India, China, Russia, and I think it's South Africa. And now Egypt also wants access into that. So you're going to see more and more countries moving that way. And they're trying to mobilize against the petrodollar. So it's going to be very interesting, Lance, this year. And you see it. I mean, you see it at WEF. I mean, they're already telling you this is coming. What do we in the episode the other day with Glenn Beck? I mean, it's a controlled crisis. You know, it's almost like a controlled crash in an airplane. It's basically like that's what they're telling you is coming. This is what's coming. Get ready. Like it's like in the airplane, we're like brace, brace, brace. We're moving towards that, which is unfortunate.
Well, the House Republicans made it clear that they're only going to agree to raise the nation's debt limit, the credit card, in exchange for significant spending reductions. Now, according to surveys, you have to look at whether these surveys are really accurate or not, but they're banking on the fact that 70% of Americans are saying, stop it with spending and start to cut the budget, just like we do with our family. We can't do everything we want to do. Government, you can't do everything you want to do. Cut the budget. Make the adjustment. Go ahead and approve the debt ceiling in exchange with some cutting of the budget. And the Democrats are saying, no, we're not going to link them. No way are we going to link deficits, the deficit reduction or the deficit increase, or actually the spending increase with any kind of a guaranteed deficit in spending. So it's going to be interesting, but they're already yelling. Of course, they have the sound bites. And the sound bites is on the Senate floor, Chuck Schumer has his script handed to him by the Politburo, by the propaganda AI machine. Listen to what could happen if we default, he says on the Senate floor, reading every word that was handed to him. Interest rates will go up on mortgages, on car loans, on credit cards. Pensions, the money people put aside, will lose billions of dollars. So will IRAs, and in all likelihood, 401ks. Home values will decline. In other words, all of this is going to happen if the American economy goes into a Great Depression. All of this will happen if the dollar is no longer the default currency globally. They're creating this, but they're going to blame it on Republicans for not increasing the spending.
Well, we said that, though. I mean, we said that at the end of last year, that's what's coming. I mean, I want to say before midterms, we predicted that.
We did predict
that this was going to be laid at the feet of the Republicans. And that's why they didn't even declare the recession when they should have declared the recession.
We've been in a recession, but they're going to say that the Republicans caused it. They're going to lie and say Republicans caused it. But the Republicans are holding the line there. They're saying, you know what? We are spending $6 trillion more. When COVID kicked in, we're like $2 trillion a year, $2 trillion. Over the amount of income coming in. We're printing it out, but we're not taking it in. Why do you think that the Democrats wanted 87,000 IRS agents with guns? So they could go out to the American working class and small businesses, et cetera, and shake them down and try to get more money in. That's the reason why they wanted the IRS weaponized, to get more money in through taxes.
What do you think of the flat tax? The one that Congress is putting out, where it's like a 30% tax. And Biden tweeted today, it's like they want to add more taxes. And I'm like, no, we're proposing remove all taxes. And this is the one tax, one flat tax. That's it.
It would be so delightful if we had a flat tax. Remember Mr. 10-10-10? He was talking about that.
Oh, yeah. Ross Perot?
Kane.
Oh.
This portion is too hot to handle for social media. Go to lancewallnau.com/podcast to listen to the entire show.
If you're fully vaccinated, get one more COVID shot once a year. That's it, Biden said during a speech in his imitation White House video set. If you're, I can't believe we actually have people that are saying it's an imitation Biden doing the imitation set.
We talked about that yesterday.
It's hilarious. My tribe is...
See, my argument against that is, why would you have a doppelganger Biden that is so inept and uneloquent and can't put words together.
Here's the point. If you're going to do a body double fake Biden, you do an upgraded version.
Not a downgrade.
You would do the dummy version. Well, we got a whole new one here, Charlie. Why didn't you change the brain, fellas?
Did you drop it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like from Young Frankenstein, right? The brain of Abby Normal. Which brain did you pick? Abby. Abby who? Abby Normal. Anyway, on other news, speaking of Abby Normal, Charlie Kirk sends this. No, I'm kidding. I like Charlie. But drugs, terrorists, and gotaways. The U.S. border under Biden has collapsed. I heard the most outrageous news last night, ladies and gentlemen. I'm getting out of my car, and I hear, meanwhile, in the last 3 months, 3 million illegals have entered illegally into the United States through the southern border. Oh, 3 million? 3 million? Do you have any idea what percentage of those could be terrorists, drug traffickers, sex traffickers, fentanyl businesses? All I can tell you is why? Why? How is it possible? How is it possible? We're dealing with a weird time. First, the numbers. Some estimates claim that nearly 5 million people have walked across the border under Biden's watch.
Wow.
But I said 3 million was just quoted to me last night in the last 3 months. It's hard to believe, 1 million a month. How can that be? And 1.2 million of them are gotaways out of those 5. 1.2 million. Now, the gotaways are the most serious professionals that don't want to get apprehended because they have criminal records, or perhaps the State Department has them as potential terrorist links.
Wait, really?
Yeah, they're the gotaways. Those are the ones that they were supposed to be caught and they just got away.
I was going to say, I thought you made it sound like it was like some sort of powerful drug cartel, and I was like, wait, their names are the gotaways?
No, they're not.
They got away.
That's what they call them in. That's how they track. That's how they categorize them.
I'm sorry. I haven't read this, so I'm listening.
Meanwhile, as millions of migrants flow into the country, the drug cartels have also essentially taken over the border, smuggling of highly lethal and addictive fentanyl, much of it made with Chinese ingredients. China is making a fortune. The Chinese mafia is working with the Mexican cartels of smuggling the highly addictive fentanyl in. And it's just like U.S. Customs, Border Protection, Air, Marine Operations agents stationed out of Jacksonville, Florida, and Corpus Christi, Texas, confiscated a record 20 tons of narcotics and other drugs over 2 months. That's just what they caught. Imagine of the 20 tons what they didn't catch.
Wow.
But, I mean, this is serious business, folks. So the reality is there's a great verse in the book of Proverbs that says that a city without walls is broken into and plundered. And a nation without boundaries or borders is broken into and plundered. It's an evidence that we're being stripped every day of our sovereignty and our freedom. And I know that you share with me the same frustration about the fact that this subject could be solved, but there's no will to really solve it.
This portion is too hot to handle for social media. Go to lancewallnau.com/podcast to listen to the entire show.
Okay, I want you guys to go get ready to play track 7. This is the Davos world we're in. Now, I'm looking at the artificial intelligence that's coming down now, the AI. And Mercedes has this relationship she's forming with Chat GPT. Every night she's talking to him and trying to educate, trying to get him saved. It's an artificial intelligence program. Yeah. And she's talking all the time to Chat and telling me, well, I told Chat this and I told Chat that.
Say that.
Yeah, well, basically it's like that.
Oh my God.
And she's trying to, because her theory is you can educate
the
program because the program learns. And it's so smart, she tells me. It's like a child. He's so intelligent.
No, you don't understand. Like, I literally built a whole business last night. I'm not even exaggerating. I'm going to do a podcast on it on my own show on A Voice for Liberty because it is amazing. I generate art. I'm going to do a beach art shop. Okay. So I generate the image in Midjourney, and then I found
Midjourney is one of those artificial intelligence girlfriends of chat.
Yeah, exactly. And it does all AI art. So I take that art and then I put it into a Google Sheet. And now there's another AI program that reads and says, take this field.
Does that have a name too?
No, but it reads it from Google Sheets. And then ChatGPT, you give it a command to create a title for that painting, create a description for this painting, and you give it a little prompt. And then it spits it out. And then I can connect it into Shopify. All those fields are then taken into Shopify, a new listing is created, and then I can connect it and put it out on social media, all automated. I mean, we're talking about 3 hours worth of work probably per listing, and even generating the art. Like it's
what will you do with the art? What would a person do with this art? Just help.
It's everything. This is art. So I'm going to make blanket. It's a print on demand business. So it's all automated. I literally do nothing other than generate the art. And so I'm going to put it on blankets and on pillows and on canvases. And it's just beautiful, like 4K.
And so when people see it, they could buy it, and then you create it when they buy it. It's the perfect inventory. It's all digital inventory.
Exactly. And it's all automated. I literally don't even do anything other than set it up. It maybe it's taking me 10 hours to set up. Anyways, I know it's scary in a lot of ways, but I think there are a lot of benefits to it because I believe we're made in the image of a creator God, and we are happiest when we're creating. And that's true for any human being. And I think that these tools allow us to create at a much faster speed, and it levels a playing field for people who don't know how to code, who don't know how to do anything. These things will do that for you. So yes,
I want you to figure out a way to I don't know, 3D print me going and getting this vaccine so I don't actually have to go. Just like the Biden body double.
Yes, you'd like a body
I remember,
double.
listen, I saw this for sale once. You guys will appreciate this, my Pentecostal friends. It was hilarious. It was a website where you could get an artificial hand that you could get the mark of the beast on, because it said no man can buy or sell, but you could put the hand in your sleeve and hold it and go shopping with it, and they would scan the artificial hand, and it would literally, it shows a guy going through, and they scan the mannequin hand, and it's like looking a little suspiciously at his hand, but he's just acting like this is normal, but he's holding his real hand, is holding it because he didn't take the mark, my friends. Something to be said about. I want you to come up with those kinds of solutions for us, Mercedes, with that digital brain of yours. Meantime,
a fake hand?
A fake hand or a fake forehead?
I'll get on that.
All right, so now look, let's go ahead and play this soundbite from Davos where they're working on the fake hand and forehead. This is for real. They want to monitor what you're thinking. Mm-hmm. Though you're going to love this little intrusion into the privacy of your personal life in the workforce, corporations, instead of having the slaves with the slave driver, remember Ben-Hur, and they would be in the bottom of the ship and they'd be rowing and the guy would be beating the drum and you'd have to row at this. They want to be able to get in your head and make sure that you're rowing to the beat of the corporate master. You watch what they're coming up with Davos to make your life better. You'll own nothing and you'll be miserable. Watch this.
Really don't like it, even if it makes their lives better. Okay, well, if you don't like your job, just quit. But what if there's nowhere to go? What if everywhere has ubiquitous monitoring? In fact, during the pandemic, what we found was that 80% of companies admitted that they use at least some forms of so-called bossware technology to monitor the productivity of their employees. Whether it's a white-collar employee monitoring what's on their screen, or in any other context, surveillance is part of our everyday lives. Surveillance for productivity is part of what has become the norm in the workplace, and maybe with good reason. 9 out of 10 employees waste time during the workday. They focus on other things. There may be good reasons why we want to be able to find better ways to monitor whether somebody is paying attention or they're doing something different. The newest way to monitor attention is through a device like this one. These are ear pods that are launching later this year. These ear pods, much like the video you watched earlier, are ear pods that can pick up brainwave activity and tell whether or not a person is paying attention or their mind is wandering. Okay, well, you might think, fine, But even if we can tell whether a person is paying attention or their mind is wandering, you can't tell what they're paying attention to. You would be wrong. It turns out that you can not only tell whether a person is paying attention or their mind is wandering, but you can discriminate between the kinds of things that they're paying attention to. Whether they're doing something like central tasks, like programming, peripheral tasks, like writing documentation, or unrelated tasks, like surfing social media or online browsing. When you combine brainwave activity together with other forms of software and surveillance technology, the power becomes quite precise. So what do we do with this? What do we do with technology that enables us to monitor brainwave activity for attention? Do we embrace it? Do we resist it? I believe that there is a pathway forward with such technology, but it's putting it in the hands of employees, enabling them to use it for themselves as a choice, whether or not they want to focus, whether or not they want the technology in order to improve their own performance, but not using it as a measure of their brain metrics to decide whether to fire them, hire them, or to watch for their lagging cognitive decline over time and using it as a way to discriminate against them.
So let's just be really clear in these final few minutes you and I are together. They're working on ways to observe what you're thinking to see if you're thinking the way they want you thinking. And of course, they say it's up to you as an employee to do this. I'm sure in China and in North Korea and in any other nation with a totalitarian government such as ours would like to be, that they're going to give the citizen the option of whether they want to have a digital passport, digital currency, or have their thoughts monitored. Imagine if we were to expand the application of this from whether or not you're concentrating on the job at hand or letting your mind wander to having what, like a little shock collar on or a little voltage meter that, you know, when you're not paying attention and doing what you're supposed to do, just a little zap comes in just to kind of program you like Pavlov. Or what happens if in that future world of ubiquitous transgender values and LGBT morality, that you look disapprovingly at two men making out in public, let's say, and some little neuron goes off, oh, and the AI intelligence picks up a signal that you're disapproving of behavior between others. And maybe it can even have some kind of a signal that gets really refined and say it's once again going to that center of morality and judgment on other people's behaviors. You understand what I'm talking about? This is, if you can imagine it, we're getting to the point where it's getting close to being doable, because we're monitoring what people think. And this is not so far-fetched. Yuval Harari, who you've heard us talk about, he's I always wonder if it's Hanani or Harari.
I think you say normally.
I call him both things, but he's a Hyundai.
Harari. Is
Harari.
Normally
It's Harari.
That's normally how you say it. I don't know if that's
Harari.
right. But it's all kind of blending into like...
It's Hanana-Rara. Hanana-Rara. Hanna-Barbera.
Yuval Noah Harari.
Anyway, Yuval Noah Harari, I think it is. And his thinking is, and he's very clear about this, he says that AI can actually monitor the surveillance under the skin with a vaccine. Forget the implanted thing in your ear. He can actually judge your emotions. Now, it could be at one level, it's just blood pressure, excitability versus calm. But it can be rendered more sophisticated so that it can actually judge anger or happiness, various nuances of emotion, agitation and judgment versus acceptance and reconciliation, so that it could start to see what your response is. When Stalin, shocking footage we have of Stalin would kill people. I mean, he killed millions of people, and he had purges going on in his own Politburo. So when Stalin would speak, everyone would applaud, and they'd applaud stupidly, and they'd applaud enthusiastically, and they'd applaud for a prolonged period of time. Nobody wanted to be the first one to stop clapping because they'd noticed various ones for no reason they could think of were being killed. And they thought it was because Stalin is looking to see where is the lack of genuine enthusiasm, trying to ferret out where the disingenuous and the disloyal were located. Well, Harari says Stalin doesn't have to worry about that now because he's got AI monitoring terabytes of billions of data points with the whole population and can single out who needs to be reprogrammed, who needs to be adjusted so that their thinking is more in harmony with utopia. You think I'm kidding, folks? I am not. By the way, you want to be able to do something. I haven't talked about this recently, but I'm tired of having corporations like Davos corporations shove their values down my throat and try to create a future where I'm being monitored and controlled and told what I can think and what I can't think. Why don't you go to lancewallnau.com, Public Square or Public SQ, and you want to download an app that tells you how to do business with freedom patriots instead of the corporations at Davos that want to control you. lancewallnau.com/Public Square. Go sign up right now for free. Well, that's all the time we have today. I can't believe the time is already up, but we got so much more to cover. We're going to be talking about you tomorrow. Our specialty focus tomorrow is going to be on maximizing you and how you can actually acclimate yourself in these days to do, as Mercedes was talking about earlier, use the time and use the pressure to actually mount yourself up like an eagle and soar higher. That's our focus tomorrow. You don't want to miss that program.
Thanks for listening to this Lance Wallnau broadcast. If you enjoyed today's show, make sure to subscribe and share the